Welcome back to the continuing story of Elias and Jonah. He Heard Me is the third story following a very present help. Elias sat at the kitchen table, folding laundry in the late afternoon. Jonah lay nearby on the rug, stretched out in a patch of sunlight, his chest rising and falling in that steady rhythm Elias had grown used to. Lost in the mindless chore, the ring of the phone snapped Elias back to the present. He wiped his hands on a towel and answered. "Hello?" A warm voice came across the line. "Hi, Mr. Hale. This is Marcy from the shelter. I'm just calling to check in on Jonah. How's everything going?" Elias glanced toward the dog. Jonah lifted his head, ears perked, as if he knew his name had been spoken. "Everything is going good," Elias said. "Things started out slow, but we have adjusted to each other." "I am so glad to hear that," Marcy exclaimed. "I assume I will be able to mark it down in Jonah's file that he has found his fur ever home." Elias smiled. With his heart filled with joy, he replied, "Yes, indeed. He's home." "That is wonderful news. I'm glad to hear that," Marcy said. "He's a special one." Still smiling, Elias agreed. "He sure is." A deep breath came across the line, and Marcy paused. Then her tone shifted slightly. There's something else I wanted to discuss. His previous owner called a few days ago. Elias straightened a little. "Oh?" "I was expecting his call. He would call every few weeks to check in on Jonah. I knew one day I'd have to tell him that Jonah had been adopted. And, well, he'd always say that he'd been praying Jonah would be all right." Elias felt something settle in his chest. He looked at Jonah again, at the gray around his muzzle, the softness in his eyes. Is he doing okay? His previous owner?" Elias asked quietly. "Oh, yes. Things are going well in the assisted living now," Marcy said. "I'm not telling you anything that Mr. Mann didn't give permission to speak to you about. He loved Jonah very much, and letting him go was hard. But he wanted what was best for him." Elias nodded, even though she couldn't see him. "I understand. The thing is that he asked if... No, I'm sorry to put you out like this, but I promised, and only if you were comfortable, that maybe you'd bring Jonah by for a short visit, just so he could see that he's safe. He said it would ease his mind." Sensing the shift in the room, Jonah walked over and rested his head on Elias's knee. Elias looked down at his new pal and scratched behind his ears. "What do you think, old boy?" he murmured. "Want to go see an old friend?" Jonah's tail thumped once, slow and sure. "I'll bring him for a visit," Elias answered. I think it's the right thing to do." A few days later, all arrangements had been made. Jonah jumped into the passenger side of the truck like it was second nature. It seemed like every day Elias learned something new about the old dog. He hoped he'd learn a lot more about him today. Driving to the assisted living home, Jonah sat upright, nose pressed to the cracked window, taking in the view. Every now and then, Elias reached over and patted Jonah's back. When they pulled into the parking lot, Jonah's ears perked. He looked around, sniffing the air, excited to get out and explore. Elias parked outside the brick building. Well-manicured flower beds lined the walkway. It was late fall, and the flowers were spent for the season, but everything was tidy and clean. Jonah hopped out of the truck with a soft grunt, tail wagging as he took in the new scents and followed Elias. Opening the door, a light buzzing sound activated for a split second until the door closed. Just inside, the warmth of the commons area embraced them. A few residents were working on a puzzle, while a TV played softly in the background. The receptionist looked up with a smile and nodded toward Jonah. "You must be Elias," she said. "Mr. Mann is in his apartment. I'll show you the way." They walked down a carpeted hallway, passing door after door. Jonah sniffed the air, ears lifting as his trot picked up the pace. The receptionist finally stopped at a door with a small name plate that read, "Mann, Thomas." She knocked lightly. "Mr. Mann? Jonah's here to see you." A warm, shaky voice from inside rang out. "Come in." The receptionist nodded at Elias and walked away. He took a deep breath and opened the door. The apartment was small but homey. The entryway held a small coat closet. Just beyond that was a kitchenette. The living room was just big enough for a love seat, a recliner, and a small table. The minimal furnishings consisted of a few blankets, a Bible, a small TV, and some photos in frames. Mr. Mann sat in the recliner by the window. He was thin, with silver hair. His eyes brightened the moment he saw Jonah. "Jonah!" he exclaimed. "Come here, old buddy!" Jonah rushed towards Mr. Mann and pushed his head under the old man's frail hand. Elias had never seen him move so fast. Mr. Mann laughed. "That's my boy." With a shaky hand, he stroked Jonah's head. "Oh, buddy," Mr. Mann choked out. "You're all right." "Thank the Lord, you're all right." Mr. Mann smiled and looked up at Elias. "I sought the Lord, and he heard me." Elias finished the verse, "and delivered me from all my fears." "You know the verse?" surprised Mr. Mann exclaimed. "Yes, sir. Psalms 34:4, Elias replied. Mr. Mann's shoulders eased as he looked down at Jonah again. "I've been praying Jonah would get the ride home. I feel like I let him down giving him up. But God heard me, and now I truly know Jonah is going to be just fine." He motioned for Elias to sit down. As he took a seat, they began to talk about Jonah. Elias relaxed, wondering if this might be the start of another new friendship.